Okay, gaming news for the week of February 1st, 2026. Well, we went on a little roll lately. I ain't gonna lie. We gotta wait 20 seconds before we can really say something crazy. So we had some news that we covered in previous weeks. So anytime we get new updates and stuff, I will show those. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Some people like to show up in comment sections arguing with receipts. Don't argue with me. Argue with your mom. Listen, I put receipts all in these goddamn descriptions on the screen and shit. Just pulling stuff out my ass. Boys in there talking crazy sometimes. Ever since we started doing reactions and news, I get strange people showing up out of nowhere because they feel like arguing with somebody. I don't do that. Go do that. Y'all be doing that in Facebook groups. Arguing in Facebook groups about gaming is the lowest form of entertainment and trolling ever. Anyway, so first things first. GTA 6, a good update. In the previous episodes of the news, there was a rumor that there was going to possibly be a delay. Now, it didn't surprise me if they did delay it because I didn't think the game was coming out this year. But according to the CEO, here we have the eagerly awaited and repeatedly delayed release of Grand Theft Auto 6 now has an official, for real this time, date of November 19th, 2026. The official quote says, "Our execution throughout fiscal 2026 has been extraordinary, and we are highly confident as we approach fiscal 2027, which promises to be groundbreaking for the Take-Two and the entire entertainment industry and all y'all finances." Led by the November 19th release of Grand Theft Auto 6 with Rockstar's launch marketing set to begin this summer. So we are just a few months out from being able to see some of the content because I want to see more from the game, but I don't want to see too much. I tell y'all all the time, I get excited about games. Give me like one trailer and like a nice little gameplay reveal, even if it's like 10 minutes, I'm cool. I don't need to see nothing else. All these 45 2-hour game footage releases and all that, that's too much for me. I don't need that. It takes away from some of the fun because sometimes they show the whole game. I'm like, come on with all that shit. GTA 6 will initially only be released for the PS5 and the Series X and S. However, a PC version is expected to release later. PC players, I'm sorry, Fofty. Y'all knew what time it was. Y'all gonna wait for 2 years, then y'all gonna mod the game and keep it alive for 10. I see what y'all do. Y'all kept GTA 5 alive with all the RP servers, the mods, and all the other craziness y'all got. Shout out to the PC gaming community, but they always make them wait, even with Red Dead. I don't get it. Take-Two has denied the narrative and the rumor that GTA 6 will launch digital only for the first few weeks or months or whatever it is. The official quote says that that's not the plan. You could have just said we're not doing that. You could just say these things are false. He said that's not the plan, which I'm inclined to believe, but don't play with us. That leaves wiggle room for some bullshit. But I didn't think they was gonna come out with digital only anyway. I just wouldn't really see the problem in that. They make too much money to not put up enough copies of that game for people who want the physical copy. Most people gonna get it digital anyway, but some people like to get physical. I am one of them when I can, but I can't always do that. Moving on. Oh, Lord Jesus. If you missed my Horizon Hunters Gathering and MLB The Show reaction videos, y'all can get a better idea of what I think of what I've seen. Sony has announced Horizon Hunters Gathering, a new co-op action game for the PS5 and PC with a completely different art style. If you see this screenshot on here, that's how the game looks. I thought that was just like a trailer to open up and then they were gonna show the real art style. This is how the game looks. I don't know why they would do this. And I feel like sometime last year I read, or I may have even reported or talked about that there was a co-op Horizon game or mode coming. I didn't think they was gonna do a whole nother game. See, this is the problem with that live service shit. Because Horizon 3 is not anywhere near being done. If they weren't working on this bullshit, they might be knee deep in Horizon 3. But live service strikes again. You're shoehorning some shit that we don't want. And on top of that, there was a time where they would release great single player games and they would have a multiplayer added. The Last of Us had that. Uncharted 2 had that. There's several games that had multiplayer added or options for co-op. But we've gotten to the point the multitasking is over. Somebody's gonna come up in this comment sections making excuses. I'm just saying, why? What the fuck has happened? The game looks ass. And I'm not like always part of the in crowd, but the comments, they validated my feelings. They got 70,000 dislikes on the first day. If this was something that was in addition, or even if the art style wasn't like this, they may not have got the reception they got, but they did. Anyway, a small-scale closed playtest is due at the end of February, which you can sign up for via the PlayStation Beta program. Expect cross-play and cross-progression. You don't have a choice. Those player counts won't be high enough on the console by itself. Cross-play is the industry standard now. I don't think people could really use that as bullet points anymore. And cross-progression is also very important if you have cross-play. You remember how Call of Duty back on PS3 used to be able to say that their game ran at 60 FPS because they had the only stable FPS game on console that ran at 60 frames. They can't do that no more. Why? Because it's the industry standard. Motherfuckers is on PC with 300 frames. Anyway, there's not a release date. And I'm not surprised if there never will be. It does not. Nor is a word on whether it's free to play or premium. And that's another thing. There's no release date. And there's no idea whether or not this is going to be a paid game or not. I can't imagine people will want to pay for this. This is looking like it's going to get canceled. I don't know what Jim Ryan was doing over there, but they had 13 of these kinds of games in development. This is why we're in the middle of the PS life cycle in its ass. Typically, the PlayStation brand starts off slow. Once you get to the middle, you're good from there to the end. They started off pretty well. You get to the middle, ass. Because of these auto cancellations. They had to do a course correction because of shit like this. Rant over. Moving on next. PlayStation, get y'all lives, bros. Nintendo Direct. I did not get to see the Direct. I think it's a little late for a reaction video. So we'll just look at some of the stuff that they talked about on here. Nintendo fans rejoice. I don't know what a lot of these are, so I couldn't really give you real opinions about this anyway. So they have, there's an anime game, Maki and Omura. Paranormacite. Captain Tsubasa 2. Tokyo Scramble. Valheim Bridge Survival. Is this the Valheim game that was on PC a couple years ago? Never played this one. Hollow Knight, which is in my backlog of must-play games. I have to get on these. eFootball Kickoff. The Adventures of... This is a long-ass name. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Super Bomberman explodes on Switch consoles. This is for all the old heads, if you're old enough to have ever played Super Bomberman. This is kind of a bigger one. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming. There's an official release date of June 3rd. So if you're on the Switch and you didn't get a chance to play Final Fantasy Rebirth, just be patient. A couple months out, you're good. Pragmata, which I'm looking forward to seeing more of this because I'm not really sure about the game quite yet, but it is interesting. They have a release date for that as well. Turok, haven't seen this in forever. Yeah, you get my drift. I'll let y'all. All links will be provided in the description as always if you want to see this stuff. So go ahead and continue that. Oh my goodness, boys. We are moving on. What? MindsEye. MindsEye, so fucking ass, yo. There was supposed to be a crossover with Hitman. I didn't think the studio was still open. The whole game was an incomplete scam. They literally, MindsEye was everything that you thought was wrong with video games outside of the online microtransaction part of it was in this game. And I platinum this this bullshit, so I played it thoroughly, if you could call it that. Anyway, it appears a decision has been made for MindsEye developer Builder Rocket Boy to part ways with publisher IO Interactive. Okay. Alright, this means that the Hitman crossover mission announced last year will no longer be releasing. Y'all, I can't even believe y'all had it. Why y'all planning content for a game of this assness? MindsEye will still be expanded though with more content through further updates. You know what? There's only one game that comes to mind where what they showed and what they released and what we have now is two totally different games. A game that I think has done the probably best job of fixing itself and changing its reputation completely. Do you know what that game is? Or a game like that? That game is No Man's Sky. It ain't MindsEye. There's nothing that it can do to fix this game. Nothing. Just move on to the next project. Hitman ain't saving this. That's insane, bro. Anyway, don't even play the game if it's on discount. They should pay you. I'm waiting for a class action lawsuit so I can get $8. I'm tired of this shit. Ubisoft. That's a meme, bro. Ubisoft has become a meme, unfortunately. All right. Ubisoft reportedly canceled rumored cooperative multiplayer Assassin's Creed game. This is a good thing. They had a fork in the road. All right. I'd say they really need to figure out what they want to do because they can't keep doing it. So let me give you the details. Let's read the specifics. This comes from a report by French publication Origami, which IGN has independently translated. According to the report, the project was codenamed AC League, was originally conceived as a DLC for Assassin's Creed Shadows and would have potentially taken place in the same feudal Japan era. The DLC would have involved 4 assassins joining forces to take on a series of scripted missions with up to 4 players that would have ultimately concluded the story told in the game's canceled season pass. You may have already heard of AC League if you pay attention to. Anyway, this is Assassin's Creed Shadows. I platinum this too. But Ubisoft, you guys have to stop it. I think this is what the 3rd time now that they had plans for something that was supposed to be a version of a game or content in the game, and they decided to separate it into its own game. So Assassin's Creed exists because it was supposed to be Prince of Persia. Then Skull and Bones existed because it was just the ship gameplay from Black Flag, and it was somehow worse than the gameplay that was in Black Flag. I don't know how you do that. And now you were gonna have DLC for 4-player cooperative, and that's canceled, or then you decided to have it be its own thing. The same thing happened to Saints Row 4. It was supposed to be DLC for Saints Row 3. I don't blame devs for this. This has to be publishing companies that are doing this. Not a good idea. Okay? Just because something is of great value and it's a lot of content doesn't mean that, oh, we should just make this into a game, because it may be a lot of content as a DLC, but it might not be enough content as a standalone game. One of those two things would be appreciated more. Well, what do I know? However, as AC League project progressed, directors at Ubisoft, I don't know how to pronounce that, reportedly began to question whether it made sense to attach League to Shadows, as I might have said League of Shadows like 5 times too, as they worried it would take too long to make, and came up with a different plan until it turned to a small standalone title, boring piece of stuff. And am I mistaken? Was Assassin's Creed Mirage supposed to be DLC for Valhalla? Ubisoft, please. Get it together, man. Y'all have so much talent. Y'all have so many good IPs that are just wasting because of this. Assassin's Creed has ruined the potential for all the other games or projects to actually mean something. Look, and I'm a huge Assassin's Creed fan. Now I don't mean I gotta like all the games and I play them bitches every year, but still, come on, guys, tighten up, man. God damn, Splinter Cell. Moving on, the next Xbox is a PC. This is courtesy of Jez Corden from Windows Central. Microsoft needs to prove it can avoid a Windows biggest problem. So the next Xbox is a full Windows PC. That much we know. What we know less is exactly how Microsoft is going to go about it. We'll see how that goes. I do think getting people onto the PC platform, or a platform that performs like PC, is probably ultimately the goal, but these prices just aren't going to mesh well with the regular customer. I think this is for people with deep pockets who have a genuine love for collecting tech and just staying on top of all the new stuff. This is going to be really hard for people to buy these really expensive pieces of tech. The next Xbox is still a fair bit away. The reason I'm even bringing this up is because they're saying that it can drop at the 2027 at the earliest. According to his recent information, he received details about the next gen Xbox around the same time he reported now as Xbox Alley. Now, the reason I'm even bringing this up is because if they were to somehow come out, if Xbox were to come out a year before PlayStation again, I think they could have a better chance at getting more consoles out there and selling more software. Well, Game Pass is a problem as far as that goes, but trying to recreate what they did with the 360, the first step of that was they launched a full year before PS3 at half the price. And I'm not saying they're going to do exactly those two steps again. 360 was an amazing console, and anybody that had one will tell you that. They would need to have any chance of doing better with hardware sales than they have the last two gens. I do think if they had a console that came out well before PlayStation, that they'd sell better. That would give a lot of people who want to get into the next gen opportunity to hop in a full year earlier. We'll see what happens. I just don't think a lot of stuff are going to... I don't think we're going to see new consoles next year. To think that new consoles will come out a year from now is kind of a crazy thought. It feels kind of like we're still in like year 2 of this current gen that we're in now, unfortunately. Moving on. Valve delays Steam Machine and says it's reconsidering prices. Critical component shortage and cost behind the move. Valve. All right. There's another. Them too. Y'all trying to sell like PC console hybrid shits, and people ain't got that kind of money. They still haven't announced anything that resembles a price point, and they most certainly said they're not selling it for console home affordable prices. Get it out your head. Current memory shortage is forcing the push back plan schedule and look at the pricing for the living room PC console. And then that's another thing. I said something about them having a Valve releasing a PC or console. Somebody's like, "No, it's not a console. It's a PC." This should say living room PC console. I be showing shit right in the face, and people don't look at the shit right in front of you on the goddamn screen. Right? Moving on. Another adaptation from video games. HBO. And anytime I hear HBO has a new show or something like that, I get excited. They spare no expense with these budgets for these shows. Whether or not you like the shows is a separate conversation. But I tell you, they don't really seem to shortchange their shows. So Baldur's Gate is going to get a adaptation on HBO that is a continuation of the story from 3. I did not play Baldur's Gate. Shocking, I know. But I guess during the ending, you have multiple options for the ending. So I'm thinking a TV show, or at said, is just going to pick one ending to continue the story for the actual TV show. So here we go. As reported by Deadline, a television adaptation of the acclaimed game set in Dungeons & Dragons universe is in development at the network. Interestingly, will be a continuation of the story from the Baldur's 3 Gate. The television show will reportedly take place after the events of Larian's RPG and follow the characters players grew to love over time as they grapple with the aftermath of its world-changing ending. So one of the people working on this also helped with the Last of Us adaptation. This is what I did like, and I thought this was a little cool quote right here. His name is Craig Mazin. I'm sorry, I might be butchering names, but fuck it. After putting nearly 1,000 hours into the incredible world of Baldur's Gate 3, it is a dream come true to be able to continue the story that Larian and the Wizards of the Coast created. It's always great when somebody is a fan of a thing that they're making movies, TV shows, and other things when they're a part of that process, because they're fans. They know the ins and outs, and he said he has 1,000 hours on that game. That's what scared me about playing Baldur's Gate 3, is the amount of hours. But I'm gonna be real, this is probably one of those games, looking at it ain't look like much. So I was like, I ain't playing that shit. But this might be one of those games you play it and then you get locked in, bro. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. You put so many hours to a game and you can't even explain why. So I don't know. Who played Baldur's Gate 3? Is it really like that? I went crazy at the award shows. One day we'll talk about the politics of the Game Awards. Anyway, shout out to Baldur's Gate 3 and Last of Us co-creator. Hopefully those 1,000 hours he has in the game makes its way into the actual screen. We're almost done here. Overwatch 2 is dropping the name. It's just Overwatch. Overwatch 2 was not received as well as they'd hoped for several reasons. Personally, I used to love Overwatch 1. That was like objectively, as far as like multiplayer games, I thought it was one of the literally one of the most well-designed multiplayer games I'd ever played. Then they kind of abandoned it. The report system did nothing. Characters were just left unbalanced. No new content. And then they changed it to what, 5v5. And the game just went in a direction. So I didn't really play Overwatch 2 too much. And then when Marvel Rivals hit, they lost a lot of player base to that game. And the thing is, this is why we tell you guys, competition is always good. Would Overwatch 2 be doing what it's doing if Marvel Rivals never came out? Maybe not. If you just have one competitor, it really changes the way things go, and it changes the content and the art we get. And a lot of people don't think about that. I could just imagine what some of the games would be if they had real competition. If 2K had real competition. If MLB show had real competition. If WWE had real competition. If Madden had real competition. These games will be much better. So, that's always something to think about. So they had like a huge live stream. I only caught bits and pieces of it. I'm going to check it out. I will at least say that they're trying. They're trying. They're doing all these new things. They have plans to add a bunch of new characters. Now, if they add them too quickly, though, I don't know how that's going to pan out. They're, reimagining and reintroducing their story mode. So every year we aim to bring major updates that improve and expand what it means to play and experience Overwatch. Game director Aaron Keller said, "We realize Overwatch is a game that transcends any single number. Moving forward, we're dropping the 2 and continuing simply as Overwatch." Blizzard is adopting a yearly story model for Overwatch moving forward. Every year will include 6 seasons tied to a new story, with events and additions to the game coinciding with the story's major milestone. Keller also said Blizzard will tell the story across in-game events, comic stories, and videos, similar, presumably, to the animated Vendetta trailer and the short that kicked off the spotlight. So, guys, if you have time, if you were an Overwatch fan, check out that live stream. I'll do the same. To see if they got anything that's going to bring you back to the game. But I don't know. All this cheating shit in online video games is absolutely killing me, though. All right. Fix the cheaters. I don't know if they're cheating on Overwatch, but I bet you they are. Highguard. We talked a little bit about this. It wasn't great news last time we talked about it, but there's some good news if you are playing the game, I guess. Episode 2 is already here. They have a new warden, a new map, a new rank mode, and some other stuff. And they have some patch notes here. I'm not going to read these because I don't know what I'm reading. I haven't played the game, but I'm just letting y'all know. If you put the game on pause, that maybe you want to check it out. Links in the description. You want to check and see what's going on. But yes, it's a whole bunch of quality of life tweaks as well. Boy, it's 1:30 in the morning. I need to get to bed. Oh. Netflix PS3 is going offline. Are you on PS3? You on PS3? Don't lie. All right. I ain't judging. But you on that PS3 though, bro? It's time, man. PS3 online is ass. Ain't got no party chat system. Bad news for the PlayStation 3 owners hoping to watch Love is Blind on their CRT. Netflix is discontinuing the streaming app from Sony's legacy console on March 2nd, 2026. You better not be on the PS3, man. I know I won't judge. I'm judging now. I just reevaluate what the fuck I said. You on a PS3? Only a PS3? Are you grown? You are. Why you on PS3, man? We down there gonna be on PS7s, PS6s and shit. You on that PS3? God damn, boy, you playing GTA 5, ain't you? I know you playing that bullshit. All right, lastly, video game release dates. I think I covered these last week, but we are looking at release dates for this week of the 8th through, the 14th. I talked about some of these already because I did a late news video last week. So if you missed that one, we just have a couple games. Do look out for Eugenics if you're on PC. This looks pretty cool. The other ones that really stuck out for me was Yakuza Kiwami 3, February 12th. Mario Tennis Fever, February 12th. Reanimal, February 13th. Once again, Reanimal is made from the original Little Nightmares developers. So they did not work on Little Nightmares 3. This is that was a different thing. And then you have High on Life 2. I want to play this, but the amount of F words they let fly on that first game, god damn, boys. All right, let me know what y'all think. What you looking forward to out of next week's games? I'll let y'all boys on next week's episode of Gaming News. Y'all ugly as shit. Ubisoft, clean it up. PlayStation, clean y'all asses up, man. Come on, bro. Bye.